It's August. Do you know what that means? Here on the farm, well, it's hot. And it also means it's elderberry season, so we're off to pick so we can make our elderberry syrup to get us through flu season, cold season, COVID season, all of the above.
Oh, it's a beautiful thing on this ground we tread at the Medicinal homestead. The Medicinal homestead.
Hello friends, welcome back to Medicinal Farm's Southern Homestead. Today we're making elderberry syrup. We harvest those berries right here on the property. They grow wild and they've been on the property as long as I can remember. And we harvest them in the summer, put them in Ziploc bags, put them in the freezer, and then as we get closer to cold and flu season, when it starts to get chilly and the sniffles start to appear, then I'll go ahead and whip up a few batches of the elderberry syrup so we can have it on hand. We also, once we process the berries for syrup, we take that mash, the berries that are left over from when we extract all the juice, and we put them in the dehydrator and dry them out really, really good and place them in a jar. And then we also can use the dried berries for tea in the wintertime, for a nice cup of hot tea. Usually they say that the elderberry syrup can last in the refrigerator for probably 6 to 8 weeks. But I have a secret ingredient, and I've gotten my elderberry syrup to last upwards of 10 months in the refrigerator. And I'm gonna share that secret with you today. Some of the medicinal benefits of the elderberry include vitamins like vitamin A, vitamin C. It's an antioxidant. It's an antiviral. It's also an anti-inflammatory. It is a great immune system booster. So many, many uses of elderberry. And here on our property, we grow American elderberry. It grows wild. We did not cultivate it. We stumbled upon the bushes probably 15 to 20 years ago when we first moved out here on the property. There's a huge grove of them out on the back side of our property along the creek, and they're very easy to identify. They make beautiful white bloom flowers in the early summer, late spring, early summer, and the flowers are edible. We use those to make elderflower tea, and we just dry those flowers out and store them in a jar. They're great pollinators for the bees and for the birds. And as a matter of fact, you got to get to them quick once they become ripe, otherwise there won't be any left. Okay, so I just wanted to show you, this is our elder flower, and you just basically in the early summer, late spring, early summer, you harvest the flowers and you dry them and then store them in a jar and you can use them for tea. The flowers and the berries are edible, but nothing else on the plant is edible. The stems, the leaves, they all contain small traces of cyanide, so you don't want to eat that part of the plant. Because of the small traces of cyanide that can also be found in the berries, you do need to simmer it for probably 15 minutes, which is a lot better than with your European varieties. Those you have to cook for 45 minutes or so. We don't have to do that with the American elderberry. Now this year, we only harvested a small amount of our flowers because if you take your flowers away, then you won't have fruit. So we wanted to make sure we had plenty of berries. And we left a lot of the flowers on the bushes so that they could go ahead and be pollinated by the bees, and then we would have lots of berries. And we do. I have several gallon bags frozen in the freezer for us to use throughout the cold and flu season this year. All right, so this is a pretty simple recipe that I'm going to share with you today, along with my secret ingredient that will give this elderberry syrup a really long shelf life in the refrigerator. I'm going to be using about 4 cups of my berries. I've just kind of let them defrost a little bit, so I'm going to add those to the pot. And then I've also added about a cup of water into the pot. And then I'm going to go ahead and turn the stove on, and we'll get that simmering for about 15 minutes. And then along with the berries, we're going to add several other items. We're going to add some cloves, and I like to use whole cloves instead of the powder. I don't really measure this, but if I had to guess, I'd say it's probably a good teaspoon of whole cloves that I'm going to put in there. And then some Ceylon cinnamon, about 3 or 4 sticks. And also I add 2 or 3 star anise. This is optional. If you don't like licorice, then you will not like star anise, but I love licorice. And I mean, I could smell this all day long. It smells just like the black licorice that I remember eating as a child. So I'm gonna add 3 of those into the pot. And then I'm also gonna slice up an orange. And I'm going to add my orange slices into the pot as well. And then I'm also going to add some sliced fresh ginger. I do grow ginger here on the property, and I like to keep mine in a bag in the freezer. It lasts a really long time that way. No need to peel it, just slice it up, because you're going to strain out this stuff anyway at the end. Okay, and that's it for the ingredients. And I'm just going to go ahead and put a lid on it and let it cook for about 15 minutes or so on a nice medium simmer. And then we'll be ready to strain the berries out and continue making our syrup. And I'm going to share that secret ingredient with you. Okay, so our berries are finished simmering. I like to just let them steep for a couple of minutes, so I'm going to make sure the fire's off, put the lid on, and let that sit for about 5 to 10 minutes. And then we'll come back and add our secret ingredient, and then we'll be done. Okay friends, our elderberry syrup has been steeping or infusing for about 15 minutes or so, and it's almost to room temperature, just a little on the warm side. And I'm going to go ahead and strain it into this bowl. Can you see the color of the berries now? That's normal. We've kind of extracted all of that goodness out of the berry. I'm just going to pull the cinnamon sticks out. One more. And then I'm going to gently mash the berries to make sure I get all of the juice. We'll actually take this pulp, the mashed up berries. We'll remove the orange slices out of here. We'll actually dehydrate the berries and then store it in a glass jar like this. And this is some we've already done. And we use this for tea, for like a nice hot cup of tea, but it's very medicinal. There's still a lot of medicinal properties left in that mash, and we don't want it to go to waste. And now I promised you a secret ingredient that we're going to put into the syrup, and that is raw honey. This is actually from our beehives on the farm here. It is organic raw honey, and it's got its own medicinal properties. So we're going to have the added benefit of having the raw honey in our elderberry syrup. But not only that, it is actually going to help extend the shelf life of our elderberry syrup. Like I said previously, I have gotten my syrup to last about 10 months in the refrigerator. And it's a little on the sweet side, but it's a good sweet, right? It's nice organic honey and not sugar. And you're gaining medicinal benefits from the honey as well. And your syrup lasts a lot longer, so it'll get you through the entire cold and flu season. I'm gonna add to this mixture almost 2 cups of honey. Look at that beautiful color. So good. I'm just going to stir it in until it dissolves completely. That's why I let the syrup a little warm and not completely cooled off. That way it has a chance to dissolve. You don't want to add it when the syrup is too hot, because you actually kill a lot of the medicinal properties of the honey. Okay, and now I'm just going to bottle it up. And there you have it, elderberry syrup. The perfect tonic for cold and flu season. This recipe actually makes almost 2 full quarts. Should last us a while.